Very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for joining us for this week's media briefing. I have an announcement to begin with, so let me just make that. We're happy to announce the visit of the Prime Minister of Bangladesh to India, Her Excellency Sheikh Hasina, Prime Minister of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, will pay a state visit to India from September 5 to September 8 this year. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina last visited New Delhi in October 2019. During this visit, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina will call on the Honorable President of India, Srimati Draupadi Murmu, and Honorable Vice President of India, Shri Jagdeep Dhankar. She will also hold bilateral consultations with Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will call on the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina during her visit. Prime Minister Hasina is also likely to visit Ajmer. In recent years, both sides have sustained high level of engagement, including at the highest level between our two countries. The forthcoming visit of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina will further strengthen the multifaceted relationship between our two countries, based on strong historical and cultural ties and mutual trust and understanding. That was the announcement I had to make, and we look forward to the visit of Her Excellency Prime Minister of Bangladesh. Floor is open for questions. Yeshi, I'll start with you. Then today I missed you, not fastest. Okay, we'll just take.
This is Yeshi Seli from the New Indian Express. I'd like to know whether India has any plans of extending any humanitarian aid to Pakistan.
Okay, anybody has anything else on this? Anybody, any other person? So I take it one shot. Okay, related to this? Okay. Since you raised your hand, Siddhant, or this one or something else?
This.
Okay, no, same question. Same question, don't waste your time. Similar, okay, go ahead.
There have been comments coming from Pakistan, even though they are flip-flops, saying that they would like to have trade with India. What's India's view? If there is
trade.
Offer on trade, if there is an offer from Islamabad of opening trade, what will be India's response?
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, go ahead. I'll come to you.
कादम्बिनी शर्मा फ्रॉम एनडीटीवी इंडिया। वहाँ पर जो मंत्री हैं पाकिस्तान में, उन्होंने कहा है कि कई इंटरनेशनल एड एजेंसीज भारत में ज़मीन के रास्ते पाकिस्तान को एड पहुँचाना चाहती हैं। तो क्या भारत से इस पर कोई बात हुई है, कोई एंगेजमेंट हुआ है इस पर?
वहाँ के एजेंसीज की आपने क्वेश्चन
इंटरनेशनल एजेंसीज।
ओके, या नेक्स्ट आई कम टू यू।
उमाशंकर फ्रॉम एनडीटीवी इंडिया। यहाँ क्या उच्च स्तर पे किसी तरह से विचार हुआ है कि पाकिस्तान को एड दिया जाए, क्योंकि पीछे एक खबर देखने को आई लेकिन आधिकारिक तौर पे उसकी कोई पुष्टि नहीं हुई है।
पुष्टि किस बात की
कि भारत ने एड देने का सोचा भी या कुछ विचार किया?
पुष्टि तक कहाँ पहुँच गए? एनीवे अच्छा, मैं कुछ देख दूँ। यस मैम।
Sir, Ayushi Agarwal from A9. Sir, there are some reports of China pushing some road and development infrastructure in the Karakoram region.
Maybe we should just take this round of questions specific to this and I'll come back to you.
Sure, sir.
Okay. Anybody specific to this issue? Yeah, please. One by one. We'll come to microphone is off.
So Achilles, someone from Samsat TV. Has there been any, hint from Pakistan that they seek India's support in this time?
Okay. Anybody else? Any other type of question? More on the same topic? Okay. The same topic. Okay, Reza, go ahead.
Reza from Hindustan Times. My question is, given that bilateral trade was suspended by Pakistan in 2019, I mean, are we looking at Pakistan to restore trade, or I mean, where's the ball? I mean, in which court?
Okay, that's it, right? You had a query? Yeah, come on. If it's on this topic, I'll take it together. Yeah, please.
Sir,
go.
last time कब था जब पाकिस्तान?
If you could introduce yourself for the record.
I am Santosh Thakur from Navbharat.
Yeah.
Last time sir कब था जब भारत ने पाकिस्तान को इस तरह की कोई मदद उपलब्ध कराई थी? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
In the Pakistan Foreign Ministry spokesperson has said that India's assistance, flood assistance, will not improve relations apparently. My question looking forward is this, that with a little bit of bonhomie generated during the course of flood assistance, is there a likelihood of meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Pakistan's Prime Minister in Tashkent for SEO summit?
It was supposed to be on the topic. Anyway, you didn't introduce yourself for topic, but it's okay for the record. Okay, I think that's enough. I think the similar set of questions are coming. Look, I think there were broadly two sets of questions. I am not going to get into what factual positions, you can all find out. One was about aid, and the other one is about trade. So let me address both of them. Look, regarding the floods that have hit Pakistan, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has shared his sadness at the devastation caused by the floods in Pakistan. You've seen his comments. He has extended heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims, the injured, and all those affected by the natural calamity. So you've seen that. To be honest, if there's anything further on this, I would be happy to share at that time. For the moment, that's all I have to say on the issue of the assistance. As regards something on the trade element, look, we've seen various statements on this topic, on this matter. At this point, I have nothing further to add to those statements. Statements that we've seen from Pakistan. I don't have anything further on it. I was asked about bilateral trade and last time aid. Look, the last time I can guess it was, I think, one of the natural disasters many years ago. तब हुआ था, पर आपका exact details आपको मिल जाएगा. Reza, you asked about bilateral trade. That's a separate issue. I mean, the question basically was, in response, I think the queries mostly were about the comments that have come out in Pakistani media reports, I think mostly, about trade or crossing, using the land border. As I said, we've seen various statements, not particularly anything that requires a comment from us. There was also something, I think, Kandaman, you asked about कि वहाँ से land route के ज़रिए अगर agency, पर again, as I said, बहुत तरह के comments आए हैं और इस पर हमारी कोई ऐसी कोई प्रतिक्रिया ज़रूरत नहीं है. हमें लग नहीं रहा है कि इस समय हमारे पास जो इसके साथ कुछ और कहने के लिए कुछ है नहीं. Similarly, I think both Yashi and Siddhant, I think you asked the basic question. I think that's all I have to say on that. I think Akhilesh, you asked about, sorry, there you are, something about support, but I think I've covered it. I don't have a specific response to. As I said, if I have anything further to add, as of now, that's all I have on it. I'm not aware of at least any specific such requests, unless you have some information. I have not seen anything yet particular. The last question I think was from you regarding flood assistance leading to bonhomie, or that it will not really. I think it's very speculative. I don't know which part I can answer. As I told you, we have shared Prime Minister's response on this issue, and I don't know how that links to meetings and visits that we have not yet announced. Okay, I'll stop here and move on to other topics. हाँ, कौन सा वाला? प्रधानमंत्री की वो तो उन्होंने कह दिया है, आप देख ही चुके हैं. प्रधानमंत्री ने पाकिस्तान में जो बाढ़ हुई है या हो रही है उसकी तबाही पर दुख व्यक्त किया है और इसकी प्राकृतिक आपदा के पीड़ित परिवारों को, उनके घायल लोगों को और जो प्रभावित हुए हैं किसी तरह से भी, उन सभी लोगों के प्रति हार्दिक संवेदनाएं व्यक्त की हैं. पर इसके आगे और अभी मेरे पास जब होगा मेरे पास कुछ कहने के लिए हम ज़रूर कहेंगे. अभी मेरे पास और कुछ नहीं है इस समय साझा करने के लिए. ओके, टॉपिक्स ऑन द अदर साइड. ओके, व्हेन आई स्टार्ट विथ यू, I'll come to you guys. ओके, वन बाय यू. शैलेंद्र को
सर, शैलेंद्र न्यूज़ 18 से. सिद्धू मूसेवाला मर्डर केस में 2 एक्यूज्ड को ट्रेस किया गया है. को अजरबैजान में सचिन थापन बिश्नोई, उनको वहाँ पे बताया जा रहा है डिटेन किया गया है, और अनमोल बिश्नोई जिनको केन्या ट्रेस किया गया है. तो क्या उनके रिपैट्रिएशन के लिए यू आर इन टच विद दोस कंट्रीज? कुछ
पहला पार्ट आपका स्टेटमेंट है ना, या पूछ रहे हैं? पहला पार्ट क्वेश्चन था कि स्टेटमेंट था? अच्छा, ठीक. ओके, या प्लीज, आई विल कम टू यू.
Sir, Rishikesh from Sputnik News. Last week, U.S. Deputy Secretary Treasury, who was in Delhi for official meetings, he said that India has shown great interest with respect to proposal of capping Russian oil prices. So could you please confirm that India wants to join West in capping Russian oil prices?
India wants to join West in capping
Russian oil prices.
Okay. Shinja.
So on the 7th and 8th of this month, there is a 2+2 in Japan. At the same time, in India, there is a mini 2+2 with America. Could you just tell us a little about both meetings, please?
Okay. There was somebody else's hand I saw. Shruti, please. I'll come back to we'll take it on.
Sir, Shruti from Bloomberg, sir. Recently, we have seen a statement out of White House expressing concern over India's participation in Vostok 2020, which is in Russia. 2022, sorry, which is happening in Russia, and we are exercising with Chinese and the Russian troops. Any reaction that we can get from you?
Let me take this round, unless something related. Related? Okay, if it's related to this, no, specifically. Otherwise, no. Yes, yeah, you just done one round. Unless it's something very specific. Okay, okay. I'll come to you. I'll come to you.
I'd just like to know whether there are actually 50,000 soldiers, as is being reported in the Vostok 2022 operations, military drills that is happening.
50,000 from where?
Everywhere. I mean, these are what reports say. I'm not sure. I just want confirmation on
Okay, I have no idea. Okay. Yes, please. Related to this? Yeah, please. Otherwise, I'll come around another round of questions.
Rishabh from CNN. So, will India also participate in the naval war games, given the reservations
of Vostok
on the Vostok, when the Navy, segment of this whole exercise starts?
Fair enough. And somebody else's hand was on specifically on this? Okay, right at the back. Go ahead.
Since you're taking the question on the US reaction to India participating in Vostok, I wondered if you had any comments on the German ambassador's comments in Delhi today.
That's related to?
Well, he's basically saying that India should take
Why not take it as a separate question? I am not. Okay, I'll come back to it. Okay. शैलेंद्र, मैं उसी से शुरू करता हूँ. शैलेंद्र, आपने पूछा था मूसेवाला मर्डर केस के बारे में. आपने उसमें कोई कमेंट भी किया था. देखिए, सिंस आपने कह ही चुके हैं कौन कहाँ है, मैं सिर्फ ये कहना चाहूँगा कि हाँ, अज़रबैजान और कीनिया में एक संदिग्ध आदमी कह सकते हैं, वहाँ पे एक है को गिरफ्तार कर रखा है. वहाँ पे स्थानीय अधिकारियों ने हिरासत में ले रखा है. मतलब अज़रबैजान में एक और कीनिया में एक. हम दोनों देशों के संबंधित जो अधिकारी हैं उनके संपर्क में हैं, और आगे किस तरह से हो सकता है वो अभी मैं कह नहीं पाऊँगा. इसमें लीगल कार्रवाई किस तरह की होगी, पर हम कांटेक्ट में है दोनों देशों के, मतलब हमारे जो अथॉरिटीज़ हैं वो कांटेक्ट में है इन दोनों देशों के, दोनों से साथ इन दोनों संदिग्ध अपराधियों के बारे में. ठीक है. आई नो देयर माइट बी सम इंटरेस्ट इन सम दिस इशू इन इंग्लिश. सो यस, वन सस्पेक्ट ईच इन अज़रबैजान एंड कीनिया have been detained by local authorities there, and we are in contact with the concerned authorities in both countries on further steps. Rishikesh, you had asked about the US, where is Rish? Sorry, I missed Rishikesh. Oh, there you are, apologies. You had asked about this topic of visit last week. In fact, if you remember I don't know if you were here, we discussed a bit about the ongoing visit. At that point of time, he was in Mumbai, and I think he was moving to Delhi. US Deputy Secretary of Treasury, Wali Ademo, was in India last week for discussions with senior officials of the government of India on wide-ranging subjects. I had mentioned some of them. Let me reiterate, including our G20 priorities, climate finance, terror financing, energy security, energy trade, and issues related to the IMF. These discussions are part of our ongoing engagement with the US, which is a strategic partner on bilateral, regional, global issues, and on mutual issues of mutual concern. We will continue to be engaged with the US on these issues. So that's how I would like to respond to your query. Shinja, you took up the issue of 2+2. Again, we discussed last week. I'm not in a position yet to confirm the dates of that, which you have said. But yes, the 2+2 with Japan is something that we're looking at early dates. And we are also expecting, I don't know, you call it a mini 2+2. I don't know if I'll characterize it as that. But yes, there could be senior official level meetings here. I think this is a reflection of the close coordination and collaboration that we have with our partners, the Quad partners, but also bilateral partners. And I think it's an important meetings. Japan is one of those few countries with whom we do a 2+2, and the US is obviously the other one, which is the first one we started. And I think we would look forward to a 2+2 intersessional with the US here. We will share with you more details about the participation and who all will be representing from various countries little later, perhaps. And we will also probably have a quad level intersession or a SOM. But these I'm yet to have the details, full details, so please bear with me. Later in the week or early next week, we'll share with you more details. I think, Sudhi, you raised the issue of Vostok and White House reaction, and then I had a series of other questions. So look, on the Vostok, I don't know if that issue came up last time, but I remember we had a brief discussion on it. Let me just emphasize that India has been regularly participating in multilateral exercises in Russia, along with a number of other countries. I understand there will be only army participation in the Vostok exercises this year. So that should answer the question, Rishabh, you asked. Yashi, your question about 50,000 and all, sorry, that's beyond the remit of my knowledge on that. We certainly haven't sent 50,000 troops by any kind of insinuation on that, but I won't be able to comment on the full range of the exercises. I think our delegation, I just saw in fact a press release from the Ministry of Defense, literally I think a couple of hours ago or less, where it talks about our participation in that exercise. I think that would be a better guide to go with that, but specifically in response to comments, I would like to say this. I think that's what I had in my list. There are a few more hands left. You had asked the first round of question, I had missed you. Please go ahead.
Sir, Ayush Agrawal from ANI. My question is related to China. There are reports of China pushing some heavy road and development infrastructure in the border areas.
Where?
And in the Karakoram region.
Karakoram?
Yeah. So, could you please tell us more on that?
Okay. Yeah, please.
Good afternoon, Ilyana TASS News Agency. Russian Foreign Minister to meet Indian counterpart during UN General Assembly in September. Do you have any details on this meeting? Will it be bilateral one? It will be negotiations, and if it's so, what is the agenda of
New
this,
York, right? You said New York.
Right. And does it mean also that Shri Minister Jai Shankar is not going to SCO summit? And if we speak about Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in Samarkand in Uzbekistan, will Prime Minister Modi have a bilateral meeting with the Russian president? Do you have any information on it?
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, we'll start with him and then back to you. Yeah, go ahead.
So this is Manas from Press Trust of India, PTI. The Portuguese health minister actually quit, in fact, after an Indian lady died, on her way to hospital. So do you have any details, and are you in touch with the Portuguese authorities?
At the back, and then I'll come to you. Yeah, so go ahead.
So my question was about the German ambassador's comments this week, where they said they had hoped India would actually criticize Russia much more, made a comparison between Russia's actions in Ukraine and China's actions at the LAC, went on to say that China's actions in the LAC are not as serious as what Russia has done in the Ukraine. We've also seen a Chinese embassy response to what the German ambassador has said. Does the MEA have any view on these comments being made?
Which part? You said very contradictory 4 things.
Yeah, well, that was the, I'm just quoting over here.
Okay.
But the point being, does the MEA have any views about these comments being made about India's relations with third parties?
Okay.
And my second question is on Sri Lanka. The IMF bailout package has been released today. It includes some details about the need for debt restructuring from Sri Lanka's biggest creditors, which includes India and, of course, China, Japan. Does the Indian government have anything to say about this? Are you in debt restructuring talks already?
Okay. Yeah, please. I'll come to you.
Gautam Bhai.
Microphone.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
I can hear you.
Gautam, all right. Yeah, my question relates to the Sheikh Hasina's visit to India. So actually in the last official visit, or whenever the PM visits Bangladesh, we saw that many of the chief ministers of the states bordering Bangladesh accompanies either in the delegation level talks or in the banquet or during the time of visit. So whether this time in the delegation level talks, the chief ministers are invited?
Okay, got your question. CMs. Okay, and there was one more hand, otherwise I'll take another round. We have more questions, okay, let me stop here, come round for another, okay. Ayushi, your question, I actually don't have any information to specifically share about, you mentioned about Karakoram, some work, I'm not sure of what exactly you had in mind. I am not, I don't want to comment on it without knowing the details. Look, let me just say what we have been saying quite regularly, that we as government keeps a watch on all developments having a bearing on India's security and takes all necessary steps to ensure that our security interests are fully protected. I am happy to say that to you on this, but I don't know if you have any specific, which area Karakoram is very large, and I don't want to comment without knowing the details of that. Ilyana, your questions actually, I wasn't particularly sure what you mentioned. You mentioned 2 or 3 different things. Look, about the delegation to the UN General Assembly, we will announce it at the right time. And certainly I'm not in a position so early to comment to what bilateral engagements that the External Affairs Minister or anybody else who's leading our delegation at that time will have. But I assure you, closer to the date, we will share with you more information. But I certainly don't have any confirmation about bilaterals during the UNG at this point. I didn't understand why that meant that External Affairs Minister will not be going to SCO. That's your presumption. I would not like to get into it. And I am not yet in a position to confirm the part. You will need a microphone. You will not come on record.
In media, there was information that this meeting between Jaishankar and Lavrov will take place on the 13th of September.
You are clearly better informed than I am, so I have no.
The summit in Samarkand is on the 15th of September. So
we shouldn't meet too often, right? That's what you mean.
No, I'm only for this. They should meet
let me clarify again. Look, when we have the UN General Assembly, our delegation does have, whoever is leading the delegation does have a number of bilateral meetings, but to prejudge them at this point is probably not correct. On the meetings of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the summit, we will let you know. The delegation is coming up soon, but not today. I don't have a confirmation that I can share with you. Exactly for the same reason I can't comment yet or confirm whether the Prime Minister would be going or not. But as you know, as just announced Sheikh Hasina's visit, we do announce high-level visits at the right time. Manash, on the issue of this unfortunate incident that you mentioned in Portugal, look, yes, we are aware of it, of this very unfortunate incident. We are in touch with the family. I presume our embassy there would be engaged with the local authorities to the extent required to provide consular assistance. But beyond that, I don't have anything further to share. We have seen some media reports which say that the health minister has resigned and there's some link. But look, I'm not aware of the full details. Those are media reports. All I would like to reiterate is this is a very unfortunate incident involving an Indian citizen, and we are in touch with the family to provide all necessary assistance. So Hassan, your comments were, again, on a couple of specific issues. Let me see if I can share with you something on that. Look, regarding, let me start with the German ambassador's comment, but look, he made a lot of comments. I don't know what part, I'm not going to comment on his general statements. Let me just focus on the issue of the Arunachal Pradesh and the boundary issue. Our position on the boundary issue is clear and consistent, and we believe that there is a proper appreciation of this in the international community. So let me limit myself to that. As regards the Sri Lanka, and the IMF, yes, I think that's still an evolving or unfolding story. Really speaking, I think today we had a chance to see some of that in terms of staff. It's called a staff agreement. I just saw today, in fact, a report. We are looking, we've seen that press release by the IMF regarding their staff level agreement. It's called, I think, an extended fund facility for about $2.9 million over the next 4 years. And I think as far as the IMF press release said, that the objectives include restoration of macroeconomic stability, debt sustainability, protecting the vulnerable, stepping up structural reforms. And we also understand that this process will need to be taken forward for subsequent approvals within the IMF itself. So I think this is still something that's an evolving situation. As you know, India has been advocating for for assistance to Sri Lanka, but let's see how it progresses. The issues of creditor equitability and transparency are important, but we will come back to you later as this goes forward. On the issue of, I think, Gautam, you raised about visit. Look, at this point, I don't have the details of the composition of delegation from our side. If we have anything particular to share, happy to share that. I have not heard anything specific about whether chief ministers will be part of that delegation. I have not also heard whether she is going to any of the other state capitals. So the Delhi composition, bear with us. Today is Thursday. It's still a few days away. We'll let you know if there is any. But you mentioned past practice. I'm not going to get into commenting on that. Next round, there was a few more hands left. We'll close it here. Okay, you first. You didn't ask, please. You had Abhishek. I apologize. Wait.
Hi, I'm Altaf Najib. I work for Bloomberg News. Well, it's been 1 year since the Taliban took over Afghanistan. So how does the relationship between India and Taliban look like after 1 year? Has there been any improvement or whatever? And India has sent its diplomats to Kabul to handle the humanitarian aid. What does actually that mean? Does it mean that India is giving de facto recognition to the Taliban, not full recognition? And my second question: you have heard about Afghanistan flooding? It has Afghanistan flooding. It has impacted more than 20 provinces in the country. So, what is India's response? Is India planning to send any aid, or India is offering any condolence to the Taliban government or the people impacted?
Okay. Abhishek? Yeah, thank you. Abhishek?
Sir, I'm Abhishek from CNN News 18. My question is regarding this latest United Nations Human Rights Commission report on China and the violation in Xinjiang province. So, will you have any comment on that? And also, China has said that this is an external interference in China's internal matter. So, your comment on that also.
Is there a different report or same thing?
Do you buy that the Chinese concept of?
Okay. I think many of you already asked, so before I go around anybody else, you haven't asked, please. You and the both of you, before I have. Microphone, please.
A quick question around Rishi Sunak touted to become the next Prime Minister. Do you see, what's New Delhi's thinking on that?
Okay, if you insist, please.
सर मैं कविता जोशी हूँ हरिभूमि न्यूज़पेपर से सर मेरा सवाल ये है कि ये जो एससीओ का एक्सरसाइज मानेसर में होने जा रहा है उसमें क्या पाकिस्तान भी पार्टिसिपेट करेगा इसको लेकर कुछ अपडेट एमईए की तरफ से
Anybody else has something very special to ask? Otherwise, we'll close it. You have something very unique? I normally wouldn't go for a second question, but we'll close it quickly.
Yeah, this is regarding Sri Lanka, sir. When Sri Lanka came into crisis, India was, I think, the first country and helped Sri Lanka with all India could help. We also organized all-party meeting, and there was consensus in all-party meeting to help Sri Lanka in this point of time. But later on, when Sri Lanka response that Sri Lanka invited Pakistani ships there, and then Chinese spy ship there, don't you think that it was a provocative act at a time when India was extending helping hand beyond
So your question is that?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not particularly. Anyway, go ahead. You have anything specific to ask?
About this Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok.
Yeah,
so,
which
Indian delegation will take part in this?
This is the Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok. Okay. Okay, let me just try to answer some of these questions. I'll just, Altaf, I'll just come back to you. Let me start with the UN HRC. I think there was a report or something that has just come out yesterday, no? Let me see what. Look, my understanding is follows. I think the report came out yesterday. Our understanding is that the report is about the serious maltreatment of minorities in Xinjiang. But this is a UN HRC report, so for the moment, let the UN comment on it. So I have nothing further to say for the moment, except that to note that this is about the, as I said, serious maltreatment of minorities in Xinjiang. On the Rishi Sunak question, I mean, it's clearly an internal issue for them, and they will choose who they are prime minister. And I think our relations with the people, two people with the UK as well as India, UK are in a different category. I hope that should not get affected by whoever they choose. So I have certainly no comment on that. कविता, आपने SCO एक्सरसाइजेस के बारे में पूछा. मैंने पिछले हफ्ते इसका जवाब दिया था कि जहाँ तक हमें ज्ञात है उसके 13 तारीख का फाइनल जो डेट था उसमें जो क्लोजिंग सेरेमनी में ऑब्जर्वर के रूप में पाकिस्तान का एक डेलीगेशन आएगा. बस इतना ही हमें जितना तो ये मानेसर की एक्सरसाइज की बात कर रहे हैं ना, उसमें सिर्फ 13 तारीख को पाकिस्तान के ऑब्जर्वर डेलीगेशन क्लोजिंग सेरेमनी आएगा, इतना ही उनका पार्टिसिपेशन है. पर जितना दूर हमें ज्ञात है. Altaf, like coming back to your couple of questions, actually related. Look, I'm not sure, as I last week also, this is a very large question. How do you assess any relationship? I think a media briefing like this is probably not the opportune, but let me clarify a couple of the issues. You are right that we have, have a technical team there in Kabul now. The technical team does have include some diplomats, but I wouldn't like to get into your, characterization of whether de facto or not. As you are aware, and let me reiterate that, our focus has been on the humanitarian assistance that we provide to Afghanistan. The technical team's primary focus is on that. Let me also emphasize the people-to-people ties that bind this, that drive this, and the humanitarian assistance that goes with that. In that context, of course, the natural disaster in Afghanistan, particularly floods here, are a part of our continuing assistance, and our technical team would be working there to the extent possible to assist the people of Afghanistan, which is our focus area. This is about a year, as you said, the anniversary since the change of the Taliban coming there. But since then, I think we have already made enough statements regarding how we approach our relationship with the people of Afghanistan. I don't think I have anything particular to add at this point on this. Akhilesh, I think your last query was on, is it a provocation? I'm not sure we look at situations that way. Sri Lanka, we have extended assistance, 3.8, I think nearly now 4 billion in assistance in various forms. We have been talking about it for quite some time. We have also made our comments, on the other issues that you mentioned. I don't know about the Pakistani ship. I don't think we made a comment. I'm not even aware of the full details. But as I said, let me reiterate what I told Ayushi there. If there are developments that affect our security, we keep a close watch on that and take necessary measures to safeguard that. But I think that is a separate element from what our relationship with Sri Lanka is, and what all we can do, we have done, and what we can do, including the conversation we just had, how the IMF staff talks, as well as the debt restructuring that can happen ahead, so that Sri Lankans can improve, get away from this economic difficulties and turmoil that they are facing right now. Okay, thank you. Sorry. The micros. No, I said they would be part of the humanitarian assistance they provide, would include this. I don't have exact details of what kind of specific is going for the floods or not. I'm happy to share that or try to get that information. You have something different? I'll close otherwise. I apologize. I missed your question. The Eastern Economic Forum, before you come, no, he asked a question on the Eastern Economic Forum. Look, as I had mentioned, we had discussed this, I think, last time, I think Eliana had asked. We will be at the official level. Our ambassador will be leading the delegation. We'll be participating in that, and our ambassador would be leading the delegation to the Eastern Economic Forum.
Arindam, Smita Sharma, beyond the statement that we have seen from the Indian High Commission in Canada, what is really happening? Thousands of students have been badly impacted because of the visa delays. The price tickets are exorbitant. Is there any assurance or students are going to miss their semesters? And just a quick question, where does India really stand on SARC? Should we consider it a dead mechanism? Because when you look at the flooding in Pakistan, this may look like a moment when South Asia should come together to try and talk about climate action, mitigation. I mean, if Indian troops can exercise with Chinese troops in Vostok, despite the mutual tensions, what is actually stopping from a South Asian sort of a coming together on climate issues?
Okay. I think your question seems to be everywhere. Let me be very honest. Before that, let me specific thing on the Canada part. Look, our High Commission, first of all, visa is at the end of a sovereign decision of the foreign government. I think we should be clear on that. We exercise judgment on our visas that we issue. Foreign countries would do that. Having said that, I think it's a very important issue facing Indian students. From this very platform in the past, we have clarified that we have taken up the matter, not just with Canada, but with some other countries. And we have requested for transparency, predictability, and making sure that the students are not affected and because this is also that benefits both countries. We have been taking this up with other countries, including the Canadian, and I think our High Commission's press release speaks about the kind of situation that the students are facing and what they could do. But I would have to ask you to ask the Canadian authorities, frankly, at the end of it, about specific issues vis-a-vis the visa. We will continue to try to take measures to assist Indian students who would like to go abroad so that they do not face difficulties. Insofar as SAARC, I think, look, this is beyond the remit of a media briefing in a week. Where does SAARC stand? I think climate change is an important issue, and we have seen lots of initiatives at the regional, sub-regional levels and beyond where we have tried to work together. I think India has been at the forefront of taking measures towards climate action, including recently the NDCs that we have submitted, or be it our efforts to bring together through initiatives like the ISA or the CDRI. I think we have been at the forefront also of being one of the few countries that have actually met our commitments, including from the G20. We're the only country, I think, our commitments that we said. So I think mixing up issues vis-a-vis with exercising in Vostok, and I'm not sure I'm the right person to comment on that in this kind of a forum. As regards SAARC, our position is quite well known. I'm not sure I need to reiterate it today. Thank you. Good evening.